Beginning with the Torah, Judaism is taught that there are certain actions we should take, things we should or should not do. Fortunately, Judaism comes with a user's manual that provides us with directions how and specific reasons why we should do certain things. I'm sure some examples may be popping to mind: lighting Shabbat candles, covering our eyes for the Shema, not eating a cheeseburger. Some of the ones most interesting to me are tefillin, wearing this specifically built and shaped object on a particular place on our body. We place the boxes of our tefillin on our upper arm, so it's near our heart. And we place the other on our head, so it is near our brain. Immersing in a mikvah, doing nitilat yadayim, washing hands before meals, and the prohibition to not intentionally maim or harm our bodies have to do with the belief that our bodies are klei kodesh, sacred vessels, and that we need to treat them as such. Finally, Judaism teaches us what we do with our bodies in formal environments. At the beginning of the Amidah, we are to stand, take 3 steps forward, and bow, because the rabbis wanted us to create the image of standing as individuals and as part of our community before our Heavenly Sovereign. Tefillin, wearing specific objects in a particular way. Wear a mask that covers your mouth and nose. Our bodies are klei kodesh. Physical hygiene is a path to spiritual hygiene. Wash your hands with soap and water often. Use hand sanitizer when necessary. Choreography. The Amidah is about how we stand when in the presence of God. When in the presence of others who are, like each of us, created in God's image, maintain social distance, stay 6 feet apart, avoid gatherings, don't share food. Every single day we hear, wear a mask, wash hands, social distance. No question, these are secular public health declarations and even mandates in many locations. How blessed are we that Judaism gives us a religious and spiritual lens to understand these physical actions that have become central to our lives during the pandemic. With Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur upon us, I've been thinking about ways we can understand our pandemic world through a Jewish lens and how our holiday prayers can connect us to these 3 actions: wear a mask, wash our hands, social distance. I was struck right away by one of the most central and well-known prayers from the Machzor, the Unatan Tokef. During the Musaf Amidah, both Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, we read, Rosh Hashanah yikatevun uv'yom tzom Kippur yichatemun. On Rosh Hashanah it is written, and on the fast of Yom Kippur it is sealed. Mi yichyeh u'mi yamut, who will live and who will die. Mi v'ra'ash u'mi v'magefa, who by earthquake and who by plague. Mi anuach u'mi anua, who will be at peace and who will be troubled. Mi ya'ani u'mi ya'asher, who will be impoverished and who will be enriched. This section of the Unatan Tokef concludes with Uteshuva, Utefila, Tzedakah, Ma'avirin et Roa HaGezerah. But Teshuva, repentance, Tefila, prayer, and Tzedakah, righteous living, have the power to transform the harshness of our destiny. The lessons of the Jewish tradition are timeless. It is no accident that there is a direct and real correlation between the 3 actions each of us absolutely must take in order to mitigate the severity of COVID-19, and the actions that Judaism teaches us that we must take to mitigate the severity of our destiny. Though we cannot live forever, we can choose to make a life worth living. For me, making a life worth living transforms the harshness of our destiny. Uteshuva, utefila, utzedakah ma'avirin et roa gezerah. But teshuva, tefila, and tzedakah have the power to transform the harshness of our destiny. The word teshuva is often translated as repentance, but this does not capture the full effect of the word. Teshuva can also more literally be translated as return. Judaism believes that each and every one of us are on a path through life. There is the path that we mostly follow. We're good people. We treat others with respect. We help out when we can. We contribute to the common good. But then there are times when we stray from that proper path in life. We become selfish. We treat others with less respect. We're not the best person we can be. Teshuvah is about reaching deep within ourselves and returning to the proper path in an act of seeking change. What if we were to think of wearing a mask as part of the process of teshuvah? If teshuvah is about reaching within ourselves, think about the breath we take in life and the breath we return throughout life. By wearing our mask, we help transform that breath from perhaps selfish, perhaps less than respectful, to a breath of teshuvah, a breath of reaching deep within ourselves to seek change. Washing hands relates to the idea of tefillah, prayer. In Judaism, we say a prayer when we wash our hands. In this way, by saying a prayer, we are infusing a mundane act with spiritual meaning. We all know what washing our hands does. We want our hands to be transformed from dirty to clean, and in a spiritual sense, from impure to pure. That is precisely what prayer can do for us. Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel said, prayer as an act of immersion is comparable to the ancient Hebrew custom of immersing oneself completely in the waters as a way of self-purification to be done over and over again. Heschel talked about prayer as a transformative experience. He said prayer serves many aims. It serves to save the inward life from oblivion. It serves to alleviate anguish. It serves to partake of God's mysterious grace and guidance. Rabbi Heschel was a person that bridged the ancient wisdom of Judaism with the modern world. He was a teacher of my teachers at the Jewish Theological Seminary, and his writings have been important in my own understanding of Judaism. For Heschel, prayer is spiritually transformative, physically purifying, and restorative. I add that so too is regular, careful, and complete hand washing. Moses Maimonides thought extensively about the essence of tzedakah. He wrote in his Mishnah Torah more than 800 years ago, "We are obligated to be more scrupulous in fulfilling the commandment of tzedakah than any other positive commandment, because tzedakah is the sign of the righteous, the throne of the people of Israel, and the religion of truth is upheld only through tzedakah, and the Jewish people are redeemed only through tzedakah." Maimonides, who was a medical doctor, taught further in his Mishnah Torah. He said, "Maintaining a healthy and sound body is among the ways of God, for one cannot understand or have any knowledge of the Creator if he is ill. Therefore, he must avoid that which harms the body and accustom himself to that which is helpful and helps the body become stronger." Maimonides knew the rabbinic dictum, Kol Yisrael Aravim Zeh Lazeh. We are all responsible to each other. Doing what is right, being scrupulous to fulfill our obligations to ourselves and to others, helping protect others. These actions, according to Maimonides, lead us to redemption. When in the presence of others who are, like each of us, created in God's image, maintain social distance, stay 6 feet apart, avoid gatherings, don't share food. Social distancing does not need to mean isolating ourselves or isolating others. The very words themselves, social and distancing, imply relation, not isolation. By maintaining social, or an even better word, physical distance, we are helping ourselves and others that we interact with survive this pandemic by limiting the spread of the disease. By physical distancing, we are helping to protect ourselves and others. By physical distancing, we are saying that we care deeply about the fate of others. By giving of ourselves now during this challenging time, we can make it so that social distancing becomes a holy choice for our families, our shul, our neighbors, and our world to honor life. Kol Yisrael Aravim Zeh Lazeh. We are all responsible to each other. These ideas are what has guided me and our congregation during these challenging times. Congregation Beth Shalom in Oak Park, Michigan closed our physical doors in March and opened our electronic entryways because this is how we understood it as a path of righteousness in Maimonides' understanding of tzedakah. That idea demands that we do the utmost we can to protect our Beth Shalom family and others. This guiding idea has led me and other rabbis to reimagine our prayer services, life cycle events, holiday celebrations, ways to gather as community, and more. It has led us to make difficult and not always popular decisions. But when we are guided by this understanding of tzedakah, we know our Torah, our rabbis, and our modern leaders are guiding us in the same way Jewish wisdom guided our ancestors through the destruction of the temple, the Crusades and Inquisition, the bubonic plague, and the Spanish flu pandemic of the early 20th century. Judaism is a religion rich with rituals. I encourage you to think of wearing a mask, washing hands, and social distancing as religious rituals, something that goes beyond just a public health mandate, acceptable sometimes, inconvenient at other times, to include a spiritual element to these actions. These high holy days are unlike any other we have ever seen. The liturgy of the high holy days reminds us that none of us really know what will happen in the year to come. On Rosh Hashanah it is written, on the fast of Yom Kippur it is sealed. Rosh Hashanah yikatevun v'Yom Tzom Kippur yichatemun. How many will pass on, and how many will be born? Kama ya'avrun v'chama yibare'un. Who will live and who will die? Mi yichyeh umi yamut. Who by earthquake and who by plague? Mi v'ra'ash umi v'magefa. Who will be at peace and who will be troubled? Mi anuach umi anua. Who will be impoverished and who will be enriched? Mi ya'ani umi ya'asher. No matter what the future holds for us, we know there are certain actions we can do right now. The prayer tells us, Uteshuva, utefila, utzedakah ma'avirin ero hagzera. Teshuva, tefillah, and tzedakah have the power to transform the harshness of our destiny. L'shana tova u'metuka. May we all be blessed with a happy, healthy, joyous, and prosperous new year.